But your background is in business, so has that business background either influenced your civic leadership or vice versa?
I'd like to believe that my business experience allows me to be more knowledgeable and more constructive and more able to be more involved on the philanthropic side. I think that's a little bit of a dangerous statement because I've seen more than a few businessmen who go on not-for-profit boards, and the first thing they say is, in my business, and not-for-profit boards, not-for-profit institutions are very different from corporations. And, I mean, I was guilty of that, I'm sure myself, early days, but to be humble about, how can you really help, but don't assume that the fact that, your company had record profits for a year and a half and then it was in the red for the next 5 years, is all you need to be helpful in a not-for-profit institution. I think, in addition, and this is pretty arrogant, but, if you've had a reasonable business career, or reasonable anything career, I'll bet you that Emmylou Harris would be better on any charitable board than I am. But, if you have some confidence in yourself and confidence in your judgment, particularly confidence in your people judgment, it does make you, it does give you the ability to be, more successful and more helpful to the charities you're on. I was on the board of the San Francisco Foundation for, 11 years. And when I got there, you do pick up sort of things from business that don't sound right or do sound right. And, the then CFO, the then executive director, this is before Sandra, a couple before Sandra, said, we're having a few problems in accounting. We're not going to be able to close the audit probably until September. And I said, gee, that seems like a long time. The fiscal year ended in June. He said, no, for the previous year. I said, we're not going to have an audit for 15 months. And, the old aphorism, or if it is, I don't know what aphorism means, but the old saying about if you see a mouse in the room, there are 10 more behind the wall. We had, at one point, we had 40 or 50 accountants from Arthur Andersen, actually going back and recreating our history. And, I knew when he said that, or I believed when he said that this was much more fundamental than he was saying. And there's a tendency, and this is equally true in business, of people in an organization saying, well, I don't want to get the board much involved, or I don't want to get the lay people much involved. I'm going to solve it. And since they have been involved in creating it, it's very improbable that they're actually going to solve it. So there is a point, where the lay side, in this case San Francisco Foundation, which David is now chair of, which I think runs really well, probably better since I left, but they've had a spectacular executive director for these years. But, you do pick up stuff in business where and maybe you do, by playing the guitar or something, but maybe you do just in life, that what you're hearing just sort of can't possibly be true, and and you can't let them not hide it from you, but keep you out of it. And there are times that it's not because you've been in business, it's because maybe you're old or maybe you've had some success in your life where you say, I'm just going to step in here. And, we, in that case, had to part with the executive director. We then appointed the best executive director I've ever seen in a not-for-profit, Sandra Hernandez. And we cleaned it up, and the place operated. Others cleaned it up, but the place runs like a top now.
So it's interesting. It makes me wonder how you see the role of the board in relation to the management of the organization.